Human dependency on natural resources. Reflect. You use our resources every day. When you eat cereal with milk for breakfast, you use resources from plants and animals. When you ride the bus to school, you use energy, fuel resources. When you take a drink of lemonade or iced tea, you use water resources. A resource is anything on the earth that humans use. We can use kinds of resources over and over. Other kinds of resources can run out. What are some examples of resources on Earth? What might happen if they run out? How can we keep them from running out? What are renewable resources? Renewable resources can be replaced by natural processes within a lifetime. Some renewable resources, such as plants and animals, provide food for humans. Other renewable resources, such as sunlight and wind, provide energy. What are some more of our renewable resources? Sunlight, also known as solar energy. Sunlight is a renewable resource. The sun will continue to shine for millions of years. We can use energy from the sun in many important ways. Solar panels capture sunlight and turn it into electricity. Humans use electricity to power their homes and businesses. Air, also known as wind energy. Wind can be used to create electricity too. Large windmills called turbines spin in the fast-moving wind. The movement of the turbine's blades creates electricity. Water, also known as hydropower. Humans cannot survive without fresh water. The fresh water we use is replaced by the water cycle. Water is also a source of energy. Dams along rivers can use moving water to create electricity. The movement of water during tides can also provide energy. Hot water underground, geothermal, can be used as the energy source in the same manner as coal and gas by converting natural heat into energy rather than burning a substance to do so. Plants and animals, the biosphere. Plants provide food and energy and useful products for humans. For example, trees provide wood. Wood can be burned to heat a home. Wood could also be turned into paper or lumber. Plants such as corn, strawberries, and carrots provide food for many animals, including humans. Animals such as fish and cows also provide food. Some plant and animal products, such as corn and animal waste, can be converted to fuel. What are non-renewable resources? Non-renewable resources are limited, and natural processes cannot replace them in a human lifetime. These resources take a long time to form, yet we use these resources too quickly. Many rocks and minerals that we mine from Earth, for example, metals such as aluminum and iron, are also non-renewable resources. Three kinds of non-renewable resources that are fossil fuels are coal, oil, and natural gas, because they form from organisms that died millions of years ago. The word fossil can refer to the remains of ancient organisms whose shapes have turned to rock, like dinosaur bones. This is not the case with fossil fuels. Fossil can be also described anything particularly old, which is meaning associated with the ancient life that formed coal, oil, and gas deposits. Coal is a solid material formed from swamp plants that died millions of years ago. Thick layers of rocks and soil covered the dead plants. The pressure of the rocks and soil turned the plants into a solid called coal. Humans dig coal out of the ground. Burning coal releases its energy. We can use this energy to produce electricity. Oil. Oil is a liquid fuel formed from tiny marine animals that died in the ocean millions of years ago. Layers of mud press down on dead animals. The pressure from the mud turned the dead animals into a liquid called oil. Oil can be turned into gasoline and other kinds of fuels. Oil is also used to make products such as plastics, DVDs, and tires. Natural gas. Natural gas forms the same way as oil. Over millions of years, tiny dead animals are pressed down by mud and rocks. The pressure forms tiny bubbles of gas. Natural gas has no smell, so scientists add a chemical to it to make it smell like rotten eggs. This way, when there is a gas leak, people know and can get to safety and call the gas company for help. Natural gas is used to heat homes and cook food. Rocks and minerals. Rocks and minerals ores can take millions of years to form. Concrete sidewalks are made from small pieces of rock cemented together. People use clay to make bricks. Sand is used to make glass. Diamonds and other gems are minerals. Marble and granite are the rocks that people use to buildings and statues. Underground water. Water that has been stored in aquifers, which is water trapped between layers of rock, is not renewable and should be conserved when we sink wells into these unique reservoirs of water. Groundwater is an important component of the nation's water supply, and it's not always used sustainably. Management of this natural resource is needed to improve usage and decrease contamination. What do you think? Look at the two photographs below. Are these examples of renewable or non-renewable resources? Write in the spaces below on your slides the photographs explaining your answers. Look out. The uneven distribution of Earth's mineral, energy, and groundwater resources is the result of past and current geologic processes. These resources are typically limited and non-renewable due to the long amounts of time required for the resources to form, or because the environments in which the resources were created occurred only once or very rarely in Earth's history. How can we conserve renewable and non-renewable resources? Non-renewable resources cannot be replaced in your lifetime. If we use all the coal, oil, and natural gas on Earth, there will be none left. It will take millions of years to replace these resources. How can we conserve or save non-renewable resources? One solution to this problem is to use less coal, oil, and natural gas. There are many ways you can use less of our non-renewable resources. For example, you can use public transportation instead of driving a car, fewer vehicles using gasoline. Turn the lights off when you leave a room. Use fabric bags instead of plastic bags at the grocery store. Renewable resources also must be considered. For example, trees cannot be used to make fuel, paper, and lumber. Trees can be used to make fuel, paper, and lumber. But what happens if you cut down all the trees in the forest? It might take many years for the trees to grow back. Humans should use some, but not all, of the renewable resources in the area, and we should replace the resources as we use as quickly as possible. For example, we can plant new trees to replace trees that were cut down. Using some resources can hurt the environment. Oil spills in the ocean can hurt or kill animals living there. Burning coal releases gases and smoke into the atmosphere that can harm living things. Animal farms can create waste that drains into rivers and pollutes them. One way to stop hurting the environment is to use fewer of these resources or find other ways to get energy. We can also use renewable resources such as sunlight and wind power. These sources of energy create less pollution. Some products, such as gasoline or plastics, are made in special refineries or factories. You might think that these resources are human-made, therefore do not come from Earth. But all resources can be traced back to some natural material that came from Earth. Gasoline and plastics are made from oil. Oil is a non-renewable resource that comes from Earth. In honor of the first Earth Day in 1970, the Container Corporation of America held a competition for the best logo design to go on the recycled paperboard products they were producing. Gary Anderson, a student at the University of Southern California, won the competition. This symbol is now recognized worldwide. What do you think? Human dependency on the Earth's resources creates problems. What do you think are the limitations in using those resources? The conditions that form the resources are specific to certain areas and times on Earth. When resources are used, they are depleted until they can be replenished, mainly through geological processes. Because many resources, for example, minerals and fossil fuels, continue to take much longer than a human lifetime to form. These resources are limited to the current and near future generations. For resources, for example, groundwater can be replenished on human timescales and have limited distribution. Lastly, the extraction of use of resources by humans decreases the amounts of these resources available in some locations and changes the overall distribution of these resources on Earth.